Our history books are filled with wealthy aristocrats, from King Louis XIV to Tsar Nicholas to Cleopatra. The list goes on and on. Most of them were oppressive, entitled, and decadent, but some of them were downright bloodthirsty. Let me introduce you to Elisabeth Báthory, also known as the Hungarian Blood Countess. Have you ever heard of a noblewoman who bathed in blood for eternal youth? Well, let's dive into the legend and the reality of the world's most infamous Lady Dracula. Okay, so picture this. It's a dark December night in 1610. A group of armed soldiers are walking through a forest. They seem nervous. Their destination? A castle that lays deep within the forest. The men are led by Count György Thurzo, a powerful Hungarian noble, who's determined to find out if the rumors about Elisabeth, the owner of the fortress, are actually true. You see, people have been talking a lot. Stories of girls disappearing into the castle's shadowy corridors, of screams in the night, of things that should only happen in nightmares. The men, while they're trying to keep their courage up, are approaching the castle, only to find that the doors are wide open. No guards, no warning. It's as if someone or something is inviting them in. They enter the castle and look around in the dim light, when suddenly a young maid appears. She's barely able to stand and her face is all pale and terrified. She collapses at her feet. One of the men leans down and realizes her leg is broken, probably an accident from a lady's unique disciplinary methods. But that's only the beginning, because once inside, the men encounter a grim scene. Bodies tortured and left in positions that can only be described as twisted. They descend further, finding a chamber that's essentially a medieval torture museum, complete with Iron Maidens, chains, and instruments you might see in a Saw movie. But how does someone end up here? Let's rewind a bit. Elisabeth Báthory was born in 1560 into one of Hungary's richest, most influential families, with enough castles to make any royal jealous. But her family wasn't just powerful, they were complicated. And when I say complicated, I mean, well, keeping it in the family complicated. Yup, historians think some good old-fashioned Game of Thrones-style inbreeding may have led to some eccentric and possibly downright dangerous traits. See, growing up, Elisabeth was a bit high-strung. Some accounts say she was prone to violent fits or maybe even epilepsy, which was a bit challenging for someone in the 1500s. At 15, she was married off to Count Ferenc Nadasdy, known as the Black Knight of Hungary. So you can guess he wasn't exactly the most cheerful guy to be around. Now, you'd think they'd just set her right into castle life, right? Throw some feasts, maybe do a bit of falconry. Nope, the couple apparently found joy in disciplining their servants. And by disciplining, I mean finding creative ways to make their lives miserable. One of their favorite activities was making ice sculptures in the winter. They take one of their poor servants outside in the courtyard and douse them in freezing water over and over and leave them to freeze in the cold. If that's not romance, I don't know what is. But things took a darker turn in 1604 when Ferenc died mysteriously. Rumors swirl. Some reports say murder, some poison, and some just say unknown causes. Either way, without a partner in crime, Lizzie's dark tendencies seemed to spiral out of control. And soon, she was getting a bit more inventive. One popular tale claims that one of her maids accidentally pulled her hair while brushing it. And as a reaction, Elisabeth slapped her so hard that blood dripped onto her hand. Apparently, she thought it made her skin look younger. And so, soon after that, she firmly started believing in the de-aging qualities of young, fresh blood. Over the next several years, young girls from nearby villages went missing. Hundreds of them. Some were lured in with promises of work, and others were forcefully recruited. The locals stayed quiet at first, but the strange disappearances quickly turned to rumors. Rumors of Elisabeth's bloodlust. But in the end, who dared to accuse a powerful countess of, well, vampire-like behavior? But Elisabeth eventually got a little bit too bold when she started targeting noble girls with promises of noble woman training. And when these highborn girls started disappearing, word reached the royal court. And when the king himself heard that Elizabeth's academy had a high turnover rate, he decided it was time to step in. So, that brings us back to Thurzo and his men, who were standing in the castle, horrified by the scenes they witnessed. And when they finally confronted Elizabeth, she was literally caught red-handed. A quick search revealed over 50 bodies in various conditions around the castle. So let's just say the place had a bit of a pungent ambience. Now, normally this is where you'd see a classic trial scene with a dramatic verdict, but Elizabeth's family was too influential to let her be publicly humiliated. So instead, she was placed under house arrest. Except in this case, house arrest meant being bricked into her own room. Yup, they literally walled her in, leaving just a slit for food and water. She spent the last 4 years of her life in that stone tomb, until one day in 1614, a guard peered in and found her lying on the ground. She was dead. After her death, Elizabeth became one of the most notorious figures in European folklore. Her story inspired novels, horror films, and debates among historians for centuries. And while Dracula may be Transylvania's most famous bloodsucker, the real blood Countess still holds a dark place in history. Thank you for joining us on this little trip to Hungary's spookiest history. Like, subscribe, and share if you like more tales of history, mystery, and maybe a few laughs to get us through the way.